Greetings, St. Paul's, and blessings on this Thursday. Today we celebrate the feast of Teresa Sanchez Cepeda y Ahumada, also known in Spain as Teresa de Jesus. And here in the Episcopal Church and in the English world, she's known as Teresa de Avila. I came to know this saint and a feast day when I was in seminary. I was asked to preach my senior sermon on her feast. Let me share with you the psalm, part of the psalm that is appointed for her feast day today, Psalm 42. As the deer longs for the water brooks, so longs my soul for you, O God. My soul is athirst for God, a thirst for the living God. When shall I come to appear before the presence of God? Teresa was well known in her time in the 6th century as a person who was not going to walk the way that her society expected her to. She was born the child of a rich merchant in the city of Avila in Spain. Yet sometime in her adult life, she decided to leave that way of living and become a monastic. She started, or was part of the Carmelite movement. She became a nun. Not only that, but she taught in a time when women were expected to be quiet in church. She was actually considered controversial by the Pope of her day. She was the first female to be declared a doctor of the church by a pope. But it didn't happen until many centuries, 4 centuries after her death in the 1900s. Let me share with you one of her quotes. She was also a prolific writer. She wrote, "God has been very good to me, for I never dwell upon anything wrong which a person has done, so as to remember it afterwards. If I do remember it, I always see some other virtue in that person." What a wonderful way of looking at interpersonal relationships and how even when somebody hurts us, there is always the opportunity to look deeper into that individual and find virtue. I invite myself and you, my beloved, to follow this inspiration, recognizing that God is good to us in spite of our failings. We should be able to look at others, at our siblings in God, and move beyond their imperfections and try to find virtue. That way, we allow ourselves to live beyond the hurt that others may cause in our lives and live into the glory and presence of God in each other. I invite you to read more about Teresa. Find out more about how she was able through her life to live closely with God and to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ and teach it to others. May we also in our time be so devoted to the gospel and to the teachings of Christ that our lives may be better and we can make the lives of others better as well. May you be filled with God's grace in this day, and may God's Spirit continue to guide you and strengthen you. Blessings to you all.